tired AF stream because he accidentally hiked 8 miles stream. Oh yeah, and the other guys are here too.
I used to push shopping carts 8 hours a day up a hill.
Both ways.
Yeah, actually. I did that job for about 3 years and 8 months.
I would have quit the first day.
It was actually a promotion for me.
Really?
I got out of cashiering.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, I got a pay raise and part-time to full-time, so...
Alright. If somebody can monitor the chat, because I can't right now, that'd be lovely.
Okay. Do we have a...
Send me the link so I can look at it.
Okay. I have to stay on my feet, or else I'm gonna fall asleep. So I gotta do all this stuff like moving around.
Give me the link and I can watch the chat.
I've given you the link like 80 times. Let's see here.
Fight me.
I can do this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, streamers. I had one heck of a day. It's actually been great, but I'm really tired because hiking takes time. I discovered that today, and it makes you really tired if you're out of shape like me. I'll get there in just a second. Live streaming. And...
Well.
Aha! Here we go. Copy video URL. And... paste. There we go.
That's a nice image.
Well, there is.
Oh, the flow over the wind?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a website, earth.nullschool.net, and it uses an OpenGL renderer, so it does everything. Or no, WebGL, so it does everything on the fly. And it's super nice and awesome, and I love it. My audio settings are still not changed. So, what's our topic today?
Apparently how we write.
How we write. Oh man, this is the one I wanted to be awake for.
Well, I tend to use my keyboard and I tap
scrub?
letters.
You don't write on a typewriter?
Nah, mate, I'm all futuristic.
Well, I use cuneiform tablets and a hammer chisel.
I go in with a needle that's magnetized and flip the bits on my hard drive one by one. You guys need to get on my level.
You guys are all nuts. I just use my laptop.
What a scrub using a keyboard to type. Nah, I have a laptop that I got with my college graduation money, made by Razer actually, because I do a bit of video games, and that game itself, or what do you freaking call it? That laptop, there we go, is the single greatest typing experience I've ever had. Hands down.
Technically speaking, the very first fanfic I ever wrote was actually not on notebook paper. It was on a word processor that I printed out.
Nice.
The first fanfiction I ever wrote was actually on a typewriter. I will admit that.
Did you ever send anything to a fanzine, Foles? Did you ever send anything to a fanzine?
No, I don't think I did.
Is that like a fan magazine? Am I getting that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
No,
it's sort of.
I didn't actually get anything online until I discovered Media Miner. So.
Okay. Lunari, Michael, fanzines were basically the precursor to like fanfiction.net. They were actual physical magazines and newsletters.
Oh my word.
Wow. Seems a bit.
That's where we got Mary Sue from.
Fools, if you're monitoring the chat, make sure that
Actually,
nobody
do you
can
know
hear
where?
a beeping noise.
Do you know where Mary Sue actually came from? It was from a Star Trek fan book back in the
Really?
1970s.
Oh my gosh. Imagine having your creation labeled as literally the worst thing you could do.
The thing of it is, Mary Sue back then, she was a parody.
She was, but she did the one thing no other Mary Sue has done since. She died.
Yeah.
Wow.
If only that could happen.
It's not actually possible.
Oh well.
I checked the laws of the universe. It's incompatible.
Well, this Mary Sue died.
Yes, she did.
So, in other words, she didn't do her job at all.
Well, Kirk fell in love with her.
But yeah, she was from the book. What was it, hon?
No, he wasn't in a book.
Just a fan thing.
Just a fanfic.
Yeah.
Wait a
But
second,
yeah, it was
it's
back in the
online.
1970s was the original Mary Sue.
That's interesting. I thought that was just kind of a generic name somebody pulled out of their butt and then everybody started using it to describe bad over-the-top characters. Huh.
Well, that's what it came to become. But yeah, the original was actually from a Star Trek. So.
A Trekkie's Tale, 1974.
Yes, that was it. Thank you.
Interesting. All right.
Okay.
Foles, are you watching the chat?
I am.
All right. If people start complaining about gunfire, just tell me.
What
I
are you
will let you
doing?
know.
I have this game called Hot Dogs, Horseshoes, and Hand Grenades. It's a virtual reality game. And I really, really enjoy this. A lot more than I like to admit.
Part of me wants to get into video games
Alright.
just so I know what the heck half you people are talking about.
Well, right now Steam's having their summer sale, so that would be a perfect time to do it.
Yeah, considering games go like 90% off on a regular basis.
Wow.
Yeah, they do.
The only Steam I know of is liquid water converted to a gas due to chemical change.
That's what my coworker said when I told him about it. He was like, "The only Steam I know about is water vapor." Oh, wow, that was bad.
Could be
I
worse.
actually do own some game systems. My original Nintendo Entertainment System from 1987, which still works.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I played Legend of Zelda once.
That's something. All right.
Oh my gosh. That is so. I'm scrolling through BBC right now, and just everything is just about how everything's gone bad since Brexit. Literally everything.
Literally everything, even things that had nothing to do with Brexit, all of a sudden, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
Brexit.
The whole- I don't know. I'm a guy who, if I landed in Star Trek's Earth, which is all one nation, one planet, I would basically literally drop to my knees and weep tears of joy. So, like, breaking apart just is. I know it's nationalism. It's just weird to me. I don't know. I know how incredibly naive that sounds.
Yeah, and I think that the British definitely have a different perspective than we do. Because, I mean, I live in the U.S. I didn't even know what Brexit was until people start getting mad about it. And I'm like, so they're trying to do what we did like 300 years ago? Okay. That's what people were likening it to, at least.
Yeah. Except the European Union is not quite the United States. It's not quite the United Nations. And maybe
Yeah.
I should stop talking about this because I'm not entirely sure myself.
So, how we write?
Back to the topic.
Maybe we should actually wait until next week for that one, Lunari, until you're awake like you said you wanted to. We could just shoot the breeze right now.
Yeah. I could just do some awesome gameplay about VR stuff. Or we could talk about a niche topic, storytelling in video games. And how
That is
that's
actually kind of
achieved.
interesting.
I've
Hmm.
been involved to an extent with it, and it is incredibly difficult. It puts your mind in a completely different perspective than what you're used to. So,
I would
like,
assume.
go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, I would assume so. I mean, you know, it's your choices. It's probably like the closest thing I can think of it to are those old choose your adventure books
Mm-hmm.
from the 80s and 90s, except to a different level. I mean, I have to admit, it is cool that you choose what you do in the video game, if that makes sense. If that doesn't make sense, please call me out on it,
It
'Cause I'm
definitely
just-
makes sense.
because I'm just spitting in the wind.
Yeah, like the thing about video games is like when you write a story that's like a book, you're expecting your audience, your reader, to go through and read the story in the order that you make.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
with video games, it's not like that at all. It's more along the lines of you kind of give them a framework to move around in, and then beyond that, it's just you have no idea what's going on. So, making things coherent in a world where you don't control what the audience does is actually surprisingly difficult.
I would assume so. I mean, you know, there's so many variables.
Yep.
I remember people tried to create a story for Pac-Man. And I'm not talking about yes,
Fan
Pac-Man.
fiction.
No, I'm not
I
talking
like
about fan fiction. I'm talking about like they tried to like explain the video game, and a lot of it got really trippy.
They got what?
A lot of the explanations for what Pac-Man really was, what the story for Pac-Man was, kind of got trippy into hallucinations, and like Pac-Man was some sort of Dadaist hell. And
Interesting.
yes,
That makes sense though in the time, because wasn't that like when did Pac-Man come out?
oh, let me look that up real quick. It's a really early video game.
Yeah, it's one of the first that actually caught on. It's mainly an arcade game.
It was, I believe, the first to actually have artificial intelligence for the enemies.
That would not surprise me in the least. Whoa, loud noises. All right, secure.
I'm scared.
Yeah. Okay, so I switched the stream to something slightly more fascinating.
May
So-
1980.
1980. So it wasn't the hippie movement,
Oh,
but because that's
Sorry.
what I need. Oh, it's okay. You're
welcome back, Foles.
Oh, foes.
Awesome. I switched
Yeah.
the stream to guns. I hope that's not going to offend people.
Your triggers trigger me.
Good.
I'm
Sorry
sorry.
about that. My
No, just stop.
My computer just froze everything, and I had this loud beeping in my ears until I just turned it off.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, Joseph.
It's an old story that one of the creators for Pac-Man got called to a bar because the bar said that the Pac-Man game was broken. He went there. Turns out it wasn't broken. It was just jammed full of quarters.
Ha!
Oh, jeez.
Well,
You think they would look
Like-
for something like that before
think they
calling
would
the maker
check
of
it.
Pac-Man?
Well, this was back when it was new.
Okay, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
I mean, back then, mostly you had, like, Space Invaders or Pong. You ever play Pong?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Up north in New Hampshire, in Laconia, there's it's called Fun Spot. It's a video game / arcade / museum that has a bunch of vintage cabinets.
Ooh.
And one of them is a fully functional Pong.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
That's
Yep.
pretty awesome.
And it's got Pac-Man and Donkey Kong, and Galaga, and Space Invaders, and just Burger Time, and Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, Pac-Man Jr. all up in a row.
That sounds really cool.
Oh, it's a great place.
Yeah, the era of the 80s has always kind of fascinated me just because of the use of color. Like, if you go back and one of the interesting examples of the 80s is a movie that came out last year. It was a parody called Kung Fury. I'm not sure. Did you guys see it?
I've heard of it.
It is hilarious. It's the most over-the-top, ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
I think I had David Hasselhoff do the theme song.
Yeah, it was hilarious. And it started out crazy and got worse. But one of the interesting things was that kind of premature use of technology before it actually became something like prevalent in the society is really fascinating to me. And I think it's my background. It's more of a science background. But I always thought those were super cool. It's the concept of using technology when you don't really know what you have.
I
Kinda
never
like
minded it.
VR.
I'm kind of split on that. I mean, like I kind of laugh sometimes at some of the quote unquote old stuff like Tron or heck even Star Trek. But then I realize I've read people go, "Oh God, those graphics suck," and it's like you do realize that is literally the best they could have worked with, right?
Yeah.
I like thinking about the fact that without video games, we would be so far back from where we are right now. Our TV, our computers, everything we have is because of video games getting popular.
Pretty
I wasn't
much.
aware of that.
The current drive for personal computers being so powerful is mainly video games. I mean, the people watching the stream, you're seeing what I'm seeing is 90 frames per second of 3D models that are accurately rendered within a millimeter of where my position is in real life. This feels like I'm here in a shooting range.
Wow, that is pretty
Luna's
cool.
playing his VR right now, so yeah, that's pretty awesome.
But it's so cutting edge. You'd have to have a computer built like as an enthusiast grade PC within the past like 2 years to be able to use it. It's just it's
Yeah.
on the very edge of what we have.
And this is probably more advanced than what we would see in Star Trek, the original series.
Yeah, exactly.
This
We're
technology
getting close to the the Hollow rooms. I can't remember what they're called on the top
Holodecks.
of my head right now. Thank you, Holodecks. I was close.
Don't worry, I own all 6 series on DVD.
Oh God, you and my husband, you guys get along. This is why you guys get along so well, isn't it?
Maybe. The few times we have talked.
Yeah, I'm trying to get him more onto Skype and stuff. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I'm working.
I can literally remember the exact circumstances of how I got into Star Trek. so influential on my life. Not even a joke.
Yeah,
Media does that. Like some
it
people
does.
like to point out it's like, and I mean this is gonna sound retarded, but like I like to say that the Brony fandom had a serious impact on my life in terms of like self-confidence, how I saw myself, my creative ability, stuff like that. And people will say, well, that's stupid.
No, it's
But
not stupid.
any media of um, pretty much any media that you get exposed to is something that marks you.
Okay. Well, let me put it to you this way. Without the Star Wars Young Jedi Knight series that I found in 1995, I might not be alive right now, okay? So do not feel stupid or anything like that, all right?
Yeah.
I met my husband because I was writing fan fiction. We met on fanfiction.net.
Wait,
That-
whoa.
I'm serious.
There's a story here that I want to hear really bad.
Okay.
Wow.
Me too.
Same here.
This was back in the end of 2005, and we were both writing fan fiction for this one author's Sailor Moon series where she had created her own fan characters, and we were both writing for it. So I stumbled while I was looking for more stuff to see what needed to be written next. I stumbled upon some of his other stories. I reviewed him. He reviewed me. I sent him an email. I said, "Hey, you sound pretty cool. You've got a pretty good idea what you're doing. You want to chat sometime?" And he said yes. And we started chatting. Then we started role playing. At the time, I was actually engaged, but
Ooh,
that didn't work out. He was so
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when he broke up with me over an IM, by the way,
Oh,
don't do that. Don't do that.
No. Okay. Yeah. that's-
bastard. If I ever
It
meet him, I'll
was-
punch him in the face for you.
Thank you. Anyway, so after I broke up with him, I told my now husband, and a couple of days later, he said, "You know what? I realized that I have been falling in love with you." Back up a little bit. I had actually gone and lived with him for 6 months in South Carolina before this time. I was still engaged at the time. But we had lived together for 6 months as just roommates and really good friends. And a couple of days after my ex broke up with me, he said, "You know, I don't know when it happened, but I've been falling in love with you." And it was like a curtain had just lifted from my heart. And I was like, "Oh my God, I am head over heels for you too." And he came when I graduated from high school and proposed in front of my entire family. And the entire week he was here, I live in the Pacific Northwest, so it rains all the time. And even though it was June, it was still supposed to rain most of the week. And I kept telling him, "You know, it's going to rain while you're here." And he was like, "That's fine. I don't mind the rain." And the entire week he's here, it's bright and sunny. And we have to take him to the airport at the end of the 7 days. And as he's getting out of the car, it just starts raining. It's still bright and sunny. There's no clouds in the sky. It's just raining. And I'm holding tight to him as the rain's falling down on our heads. And he walks inside, and I get back in the car, and I look at my grandfather as tears are running down my cheeks, and he wiped my tears away, and he said, "Baby, the heavens are crying with you right now."
Oh,
That is
And
that's-
adorable, and I'm jealous AF.
And
That's
that's when I
awesome.
knew that Mark and I were going to be together forever. And we'll be married 7 years on August 7th. So,
Congratulations.
congratulations.
thank you.
Congrats.
That is a great story.
That is awesome.
Thank you. So yeah, that's my my story of how I would not be where I am without media. In this case, fan fiction.
by the way, hello.
Greetings.
Um,
Hey, Weather.
Hello.
I'm
Hey,
on
Weather.
lunch break. Can you guys hear the music playing in the background of the speakers?
Nope.
I can hear
No.
something.
Okay,
I
good.
don't know what.
It's probably just music playing on the speaker. I can't find a safe, quiet spot to talk.
It's fine.
You on your lunch, dude?
Yeah. So I got a little bit of time, not much, but
All right, then why don't we go into what we were planning on talking about and do how we write, and we'll start with Weather since he doesn't have much time.
I thought we already did how we write.
No.
Nope. We've just been talking
Yeah.
about video games and
Yeah.
stuff.
I thought we touched on how we each write in the first episode.
Somebody asked a question about that, and I thought
Yeah.
we kind of put it off a bit.
Yeah,
We did. Someone
we
asked
did.
the question, and we just kind of.
Because that was something that it would have been good to do as a full video, not just something like kind of just not as a Q&A. Because there's, I don't know about you guys, but I do a lot of stuff when I like get down and get ready to write. So
See, for me, when it comes to writing, it's either I have the inspiration and I can crank out an amazing story really fast, or I have no inspiration and I can write super sloppy second trash pretty much any time of the day. So, like, if I try and force myself to write, it turns out a lot worse than I want it to be, and it bugs me. But if I had the inspiration, like if I'm just struck with an idea that isn't for like a big story, I can just run the idea and crank out something that's really good. But even for my stories, I may say they're good, but everybody has their own opinion. And while I find most of my stories pretty good, none of them are anything phenomenal or brag-worthy, I guess. But, I don't know.
I think someone's having a shower in my house, so if there's any background noise, I'm sorry about that.
no problem.
That's fine.
It's funny that you're talking about writing right now because I'm trying to get out a small, tiny Twilight Tales update this weekend. Well, technically not this weekend. Sometime this week it'll go up.
By the way,
And
I am
Can't
pretty.
think.
By the way, fools, I am pretty sure that story that we're doing, those stories we're doing, mine
Yeah.
is terrible. So I'm guaranteeing that you'll win. I'm still gonna post it, no matter how terrible it may be, because it is really bad.
Weather and I are having a contest between the two of us where we're each writing a Evil Celestia story. So
Does it have a couple caveats as well?
yes, it does. There's 6 rules to it.
Maybe we ask what the rules are.
Oh goodness, 1 second. Let me find them again.
Yeah, I'll let her do that. I don't have access.
Yeah, you'll let me do it. I know.
Oh. I don't have access.
Yeah, okay, fair enough, fair enough. Let's see. I click this button.
Where does the gun go?
This
Oh,
is
there's this. No. I'm transforming one of my transformers, and I couldn't remember where the gun went on his alternate mode.
Oh, that's
okay.
good.
But now I got it.
I don't know.
Okay, here are the rules. It has to have a face-off between the Nightmare-Evil Celestia and Twilight. It must spawn from an event in the show. The elements of harmony cannot be used. Pinkie Pie must be seen or heard or referenced at least once. And Twilight has to kiss Celestia to heal her, and the story must start with the word Twilight.
That actually sounds pretty
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine. I had a really good idea for it, but making an epic
I made it.
battle really hard.
Epic battles are super hard.
Yeah,
I
because
agree.
it's so easy to lose the reader's attention.
Oh yeah, that, and especially in third person, I've always found it rather difficult to. I've always found it rather difficult to keep proper pacing for action scenes. Like things
Mhm.
feel too slow in some parts and too fast in others, and I'm always second guessing myself.
Well, it's because the pacing changes erratically
Yeah,
according to whatever's happening. Because, like, if you have a rogue hiding in a storage room, then ow, I'm gonna stop playing with your mic. Stop chewing on it. That's not what it's for. But if you have a rogue in a box in a storage room, it's going to be really slow paced for the first little bit because he's going to be trying to figure out exactly what he needs to be doing right at the moment. And that may be waiting on some guards to walk in or waiting on them to leave or something. But if he gets spotted, the flow of it immediately changes to fast pace because he's got to be able to avoid their attacks, or if they decide not to talk to him. But if they decide to just attack him, he's got to dodge their attacks and then get out of the room or do something to neutralize the threat. So it's got to be a quick, fast-paced decision on his part because he's not exactly built to take on a hit.
right.
So in my story, Celestia pretty much uses solar power to a solar attack to solar spell to neutralize everybody in the room for a moment by blinding them with a solar flash. And immediately after that, Twilight responds with teleporting to the ground rather than behind or elsewhere in the air, and fires a very dense, thin beam straight at Celestia in order to break or pierce her barrier shield and or her force field. And Celestia's response to that is, "Well, I'm an alicorn. I heal really fast. You should know this." Heals the wound, cleans her coat, and then uses the little balls of blood that she has floating around, 2 little balls of blood, and she uses them as as catalysts for 2 fire spins, which pretty much fill the room up. Twilight and Cadence have to use it to protect, or have to combine their magic to protect themselves, Spike, and Luna from the firestorm.
That's badass.
That's
They
pretty legit.
actually, because this is in a fairly good sized stone room with almost smooth walls. I mean, it's Dragon Throne room. Big throne on one side of the room, giant walls, big room. And they actually work together to move their force field across to the walls and then enclose the fire around Celestia. And yeah,
That's pretty legit.
That is
how they
good.
do it, but writing it is so much harder.
Yeah, because as you
so
said,
much
you're switching
fun.
between that
Fast and slow pace.
fast and slow pace, which can be really, really hard to pull off.
The hardest part is the fact that when it comes to dense detailing in writing, a lot of readers go straight for the dialogue to speed read. They follow the dialogue to follow the story, and oftentimes they'll skip over minor actions such as, "Oh, he sat down his drink. Wait, how did he get?" Or they'll completely miss smaller details such as, when did he throw the cup across the room? I don't remember that. Why is he cleaning up a cup that was never thrown?
Right.
And I'm sure you have all done this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually when I'm speed reading though, I check a tag, the dialogue tags, but other than that, it's just scan through dialogue.
Yeah, see? And what happens when you come across 7 or 8 thick paragraphs of nothing but detailing a battle? I mean, you're going to read it, but you're probably going to get lost
Yep.
trying to read it too fast.
Mm.
See?
Mhm.
So you have to be careful
Yeah.
with how you write it as well, or else the reader won't be able to follow. And I feel like that's what issue my writing currently, or my current story has. And just a little spoiler, because I know it doesn't really matter, and Foles probably won't mind. But Foles, if you do mind, go ahead and remove yourself quietly from audio range.
Eh.
Okay. Well,
We've already agreed that we're gonna pre-read each other's anyway, so it's not a big
yeah.
deal.
So before I get going, real quick, the way I couldn't figure out a way to bring someone back to life with a kiss, because that seems really, really cliche and very much fantasy, kids storytelling kind of thing. I mean, I'm sure I could come up with a spell or something that would fit, but I just can't. So, I've kind of made it to where Twilight doesn't really have any real or show any real affection towards Celestia throughout the first 1,000 words or so, because this thing's only like 2,500 words. It's not very long at all yet. But towards the end, when we get to that part where she walks over there to kiss Celestia and bring her back to life, right as she brings her back to life with the kiss, it turns out that Pinkie Pie has been playing with dolls instead of putting up books in Twilight's library.
Oh, that is awesome.
Oh
Wow.
man,
All of this is going on in Pinkie Pie's head.
beautiful.
That kind of makes
I
it
thought
fair,
so.
though.
I thought it was a nice little twist, and I have to thank Nahili. I don't know how to pronounce it.
That is awesome weather.
But yeah, he gave me the idea after reading it and pretty much flatly saying, "Well, that was terrible."
Yeah, he's a rather, like, not in a bad way, but he's very direct.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it.
Definitely not.
I like I like true criticism. I mean, as long as you're being straightforward about it, and I like that was terrible, piece of shit. You need to delete it, and you need to go kill yourself. that kind of stuff is just bad. But if you don't like it, tell them you don't like it. Tell them why you don't like it. Oh, it's too wordy. Oh, they didn't seem in character. The pacing was off. Just whatever it happens to be. Be honest with the person you're reviewing. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm pretty sure my break is about up. I got maybe like 5 minutes left. So,
Okay.
Anybody want to add on before I take off?
No,
Like
Have a
any
good rest of your
fair
shift.
weather.
I think you covered it.
Yeah.
Alrighty then. You have you guys covered character creation? How not to do a Mary Sue? Because if not, we need to save that for next time I can actually be in one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
definitely.
love that.
Yep.
I
Today's
love
Top of
kind
the
of
list.
off for all of us, so
Yeah.
We haven't really been discussing much of anything.
I'm currently playing
Well-
skee ball with grenades. So
That sounds fun.
I was playing
I-
with a Transformer Cybertron toy.
I got a
I'm
good topic,
working-
guys.
I'm working on the next chapter of Tiny Twilight Tales right now, so
Okay.
nice. I actually just wrote a fic last night. That's a romance. I gagged the entire time. I'm so not
Good
used to that
shit.
genre.
I love romance, dude. romance and slice of life are probably my favorite because it's love. To be perfectly honest, love is one of the few things that can completely change a person's outlook on life
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah,
in
that
in
is.
multiple times in one love. Because you fall in love, you see things in a brighter light. You see things not for what they are, but for what you want them to be.
Yeah,
Um,
Mhm.
and you see how life can how life can improve, how you can improve it, and how things can be picked up and lifted and taken care of properly. But then again, there's also obsession and compulsion, the fears that come with it. Um, there, it's such a complex. Just it is. Love is one of the most complex and one of the most relatable and strong. Uh, my s- or self. What is it? There's is it character versus themselves? I
yeah,
think
man
that
versus man.
yeah, man versus man. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I started
Oh.
I started out with detailing. It's a Sunlight fic, by the way. I'm sorry. But I started out with
Yeah.
detailing the way that um the way that Sunset had been sitting there for like 15 minutes
Ooh.
staring at her phone. It's like, do I even do this? Even though she'd planned it out ahead of time. Because I mean, that's just. I feel like most people feel that way.
Wait, Sunlight? Do you mean Sunburst and Twilight?
No, Sunset, Shimmer, and Twilight.
Oh.
Somebody.
Sunburst would be an interesting one.
Yeah, would.
Starlight Glimmer would go insane with grief, and oops, there goes Equestria again.
Oh
There you
man,
go.
that'd be the ultimate. That would be the ultimate destructive factor to her.
And see, it's because of love.
Because
Yeah, she went crazy because she lost contact with him. Now he's falling for Twilight. Oh man.
Yeah. That would be pretty
calm
crazy.
down,
Cray
Satan.
cray. Anyways, I'm gonna get going.
All right, have a good one, man.
Have a good time.
Thank you, Weather.
Very good
I'm glad I could
day.
join in. Hopefully, I curveballed you guys into actual discussions about writing.
Yes.
Possibly. Bye,
Possibly.
Weather.
Bye bye. Good night, folks.
Bye.
Have a good one.
Been feeling better.
You okay there? Why can't you breathe? I'm confused.
No reason. I'm fine. Don't worry
I
about me.
don't believe that crap.
Michael, don't make us fly out to Great Britain to see if you're all right.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
I will get a 747, okay? And I will fly out to Foal's house, fly out to Lunari's house, and then fly to England.
Sounds like a trip.
You
I'm
don't
down.
know what part of England I live in.
It's okay. We can just. I mean, it's small enough. We'll be fine.
It'll be a road trip, okay? It'll be a combination aircraft, flight, adventure thing, and or road trip comedy.
That would be
Wow.
awful and amazing at the same time.
I'll rent us out a Volkswagen Beetle. And we can do that bit from Captain America Civil War where I believe it was Winter Soldier asks Falcon if you can move the seat up, and he can't. So he moves over looking all badass.
I feel like a road trip with us could end really well or terribly, and there's not much chance for anything else.
It wouldn't be a meh, it's all right.
Yeah, it would be. Oh.
It would either be this is the most fantastic thing that has ever happened, or would end with all of us in the hospital in misery.
Yeah.
Or in jail. One of the two.
Both?
Possibly both, yeah.
What do I need to save you from, honey?
Nothing.
That didn't sound like nothing.
Hostile Road Trip was my podcast, people.
Don't ask me.
My husband has just said, "Don't ask me for bail money."
Ha. Oh, by the way, can you ask your husband for some bail money? I need some for a friend.
Yeah, a friend. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Yeah, I know. I actually don't have any friends.
Oh,
Aww. What are
Yay,
we?
self-deprecating humor. Okay.
What are we?
I love
then?
self-deprecating humor. That way, nobody important gets hurt.
Perfect. I'm setting the world on fire.
Have fun with that.
Have fun storming the castle.
Okay.
You think he's gonna make it?
Oh, I killed the world. Sorry, guys. Sorry, not sorry.
Not supposed to do that.
Where's the moon? There it is. Heh.
You know, probably one of the earlier videos I ever saw, PMVs, was of Luna animation going across the moon to Tiny Tim's tiptoeing through the tulips.
Oh my gosh. Tiptoe Through the Tulips, like, it's a great song, and Tiny Tim is actually a really good artist,
Pardon me.
but some of the things that it's been used for is so crazy. I just... Oh, wait. My dad just came in, and he opened the door, and I lost tracking on my headset. There we go. Okay. Back. So...
You know, sorry, go ahead, Lunari.
No, I was just trying to figure out how to start a conversation. You go ahead. You had something.
Okay, I've got some kind of really weird. I have a Transformer that I'm holding right now in my hand. He's from the Transformer Cybertron series. His name is Short Round. No, that's not the weird part. He transforms into a hovercraft, but there's an unofficial fan mode of a commode.
Oh my gosh. Really?
Yes.
That's amazing.
I have him transformed into that, and I'm holding him right now. And the thing of it is, he's just the right size for other Transformers to sit on.
Wonderful.
It sounds like somebody planned that out real well.
Yep.
I'm watching two galaxies collide.
Oh man, that is going to be such a mess to clean up.
What, the Transformer or the galaxies? Or both?
Both. I guess some of us in the Transformer fandom have just gotten bored with cars and planes and trucks, and
Yeah.
you know, the occasional guns.
And
Like-
that's understandable.
Yeah, like there's one website I go to called Cybertron.com where some of the most popular threads are basically, what do you want to see get turned into a Transformer? And it's like, you know, some of the stuff you look at and you're like, wow, why haven't they done that? Like a limousine or a hearse.
Yeah. That's interesting. Although the Transformers universe kind of got messed up from what I remember with the Transformers movies. They're just Michael Bay experimentations now for lens flares and explosions from what I remember.
Okay, the one in 2007, I personally believe was a fairly underrated movie. It had a coherent plot. It had some relatively good characterization. I'm going to be perfectly honest here, and I have literally been called not a true fan of Transformers because I hold this opinion. Ponder that. But I believe the 2007 movie is better than the 1986 movie.
Oh, really?
Yes. And please keep in mind that I saw the 1986 movie in theaters opening week.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Born in 1986.
Yeah,
I was not alive then.
Neither was I, because I'm really young.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, at the very least, like, there's so much about the 1986 movie that is just people refuse to acknowledge that it's bad because of nostalgia. Like, where does Unicron come from? Where the hell does the Matrix come from? The entire middle of the movie could be cut out, and you really wouldn't lose anything.
Yeah, people will use nostalgia a lot of times to make things. They make things seem better than they were.
Yeah.
Like old cartoons is one of the ones that I think of on a regular basis. That's like, well, I mean, some of the older cartoons were really, really good, but some of them were stupid. Like as a kid, I loved watching Ed, Edd n Eddy.
Mhm.
I thought that was hilarious. The thing was, I look back at it now, it's pretty stupid. But
Yeah, I had that experience about a year ago. I tried watching all that again, and I'm like, how did I ever enjoy this?
yeah, it's just tastes change, and
It's not even change, not even taste. Sometimes just the quality. You realize, like there's some bits of the original Transformers Generation 1 animated series that I feel it actually has done better than any other version of the franchise, but there's a lot that it has so been surpassed in. Like, it's got some of the best human characters in it, as insane as that might sound, but oh my god, the animation. And like, and some of the characters are like, they're flat, they're literally just buy my toys. And yeah.
I hate it. I mean, I understand why people do that, the buy my toys thing, but it's irritating to such a regard. Also, just as a note, if you hear heavy breathing, that's my dog. I'm actually lying on the floor right now in VR, looking up at the sun, and my dog comes over. It's such a weird experience, but just to be sad for sad's sake, he just kind of got the final word from the vet that he's probably not going to live much longer. So he's got some complications in his liver and other things, but for now he's happy, so that's good.
I'm very sorry to hear, Lenari.
It's okay. I came to grips with it a while back after watching him kind of degrade further, but it's just it's not easy either way. But right now I get to pet him, so that's good.
Yeah. That happened with my aunt's dog. My aunt's dog just got sicker and sicker. Teddy. Like, okay, buy my toys can be done well. You know, like introducing a new character. Like, there was a Transformers Generation 1 episode, season 1, called Fire in the Sky that introduced the character Skyfire. And it was basically buy my toys, but it was done really well because it basically showed how war had basically just divided their society and their civilization. And it was actually kind of really sad.
Yeah.
Because he was a friend of Starscream's before the Great War, and when Starscream found him, when the Decepticons found him in the ice, Starscream's voice changed. It was still Starscream's voice, but the screech was gone. He was serious. He was like, my friend, he's alive. And then throughout the episode, as Skyfire basically realizes, holy crap, you know, the Decepticons are in the wrong, the screech comes back and they fight, and in the end Skyfire sacrifices himself to save the Earth.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is good. They didn't have to do it like this. They could have just had Skyfire show up, but no. Or then you have most of the season 2 introductions of the Transformers where they just literally show up and go, hi, I'm Perceptor. I'm a Transformer with a microscope and I'm smart. So yeah, it can be done well, it can be done badly.
Definitely. And there's always a fine line to walk when you're doing anything like that. So
Hmm. I mean, look at Cadence in Shining Armor and Crystals in the Changelings. That was awesome.
yeah, that was a really really good. I loved that episode. Especially the way they didn't just take Twilight for granted because oh smart. It was like oh you're an idiot. Stop it. Like they had common sense about them, and the writers used that to their advantage very well, in my opinion, at least.
You know, I recently watched it and did a review of it, and I realized they didn't actually ever state that the other members of the main six didn't know who Shining Armor and Shining Armor was. They never asked, your brother? You have a brother? It was like, your brother's getting married. That was a surprise. And, you know, I think they actually knew that Twilight had a brother.
You know, that is, now that I think about it, that is interesting. I don't remember them saying anything along the lines of, you have a brother. Even though Twilight had shown up, and they had no idea who that was. So it makes you wonder if that was just kind of assumed to be discussed later on, or, you know, was the whole thing kind of orchestrated as a, I'm not really sure how to word this, but like, was it orchestrated as this, they already knew who Twilight was.
Well, they knew. Well, they met Twilight at the beginning of the series.
Right, but like, did they already like know who Twilight and Shining Armor were? I don't think so, but
yeah.
Like,
I think it's possible that they knew that Princess Celestia had a student, but I don't think anyone really knew who Twilight was.
because Twilight was a shut-in.
Yeah.
Stupid Twilight. That's the pot calling the kettle black when I say that. I'm over here playing around with the universe in VR. I'm like, you should get out more.
Now,
Maybe-
Shining Armor was probably more well known because of, you know, being the,
A guard, yeah.
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 Well, being the captain of the guard, even, you know.
Yeah, and so
Head of a military. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, no, you.
Well, head of a
have
military that makes the red shirts look competent.
One. Yeah,
I've got to admit, that never has sat well with me, almost as much as them dismissing Twilight. Like, okay, have you guys ever heard of Mick Foley?
I can't say that I have.
I think it rings a bell, but I can't think of where.
He's a professional wrestler who has written out longhand 4 autobiographies of himself. That
Wow.
the first 3 hit the New York Times #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. And in his first one, he said that when he did promos against his opponent, he would say that he wouldn't talk down to them. He wouldn't call them a loser. He wouldn't call them a nobody. He would say that, you know, well, this is going to be one of the toughest battles I've got, but I've got a steel chair. And he never understood why other people would do that, why they would call their opponents a loser or nobody. Because if you think about it, if you've just beat a loser, so what? He's a loser. Whatever.
Yeah.
But if you just got beaten by a loser, what's that say about you? Now, you know, I don't mean that the Royal Guard should have completely, totally beaten back the changelings by themselves, but how they acted in Canterlot Wedding and other instances, it's basically gotten to the point of self-parody. And it doesn't do anything for their opponents. It doesn't do anything for them. It's just a joke that I think wasn't even really funny. But that's how I see it.
I see the Equestrian Royal Guard as basically similar to the Jorian Guard.
I don't know who that is.
From the anime Tenchi Muyo.
I've never seen that one.
Sec. Let me pull up a picture.
I mean, in my own Hasbroverse, I made the Royal Guard part of a larger equestrian military simply because I couldn't stand them being so incompetent.
Yeah, they feel like a kind of like the way that the U.S. Army, we have a like the soldiers that guard the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier and stuff like that, and they're more decorative. Like, don't get me wrong, they're still very incredible in what they do, but it's a more decorative, kind of not an unnecessary, but I don't want to step on toes here is my main issue. Not unnecessary, but a very
I think I understand what you're saying.
yeah, I don't
Like,
want to
they
say
might-
unimportant because it's definitely an important role, but they're not out in active combat, and whether or not they're trained for it, they don't show it. And I kind of see the Equestrian Guard like that, as a stand-in, almost a figurehead type thing, rather than just like an actual military.
Yeah. They just stand around, look buff,
Yeah.
shine their armor. Oh, maybe that's why Shining Armor is named Shining Armor.
Ha!
It's not because he's a knight in Shining Armor. It's because he makes sure his bling is all blinged up.
I mean, that's a pretty reasonable excuse. Oh, a couple moons just crash into Jupiter.
Oh. Reminds me of a Red Dwarf episode all of a sudden.
We're a very talkative group today. My apologies,
Yeah.
I was hiking, so I'm tired.
I'm planning on doing a Star Trek original series My Little Pony crossover.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How common is that?
I've seen a few of them, but I've seen a few general Star Trek crossovers. I don't know how common it is the original series. If only because I want to see Kirk fight Blue Blood.
So in other words, Blue Blood get BTFO? Because that's
Well-
what would happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if go ahead.
It would be okay. This is gonna be me getting a bit Star Trek geeky. So if you have any questions, interrupt me and ask who this person is or what the heck's going on or what I'm talking about. But it would take place in the 4th year of the Enterprise's original mission, which of course was never broadcast because the series was canceled in season 3. The Enterprise would be dispatched to the Klingon neutral zone because back then the Klingon Empire and the Federation were enemies. For negotiations in the Equus system.
Okay.
Yeah, and back then there was a treaty called the Organian Treaty because in Star Trek there are like, semi-omnipotent godlings in like every other star system. Like, I don't like you. I think I'll wipe out your species.
So
no,
like
actually-
class 3 civilizations.
Yeah, we pray to gods that have less power than these people, okay? Like, complete reality warping.
Yeah.
And the Klingons would dispatch a ship too, and this would be commanded by a Klingon by the name of, what's his name again? I've got this bookmarked. Kang. Because in the original series, he was a guest star in an episode where the Klingons and the crew of the Enterprise had to work together to stop one of the semi-omnipotent godlings from basically having them go to eternal war, trapped on the Enterprise. So Kang has some history with Kirk, and it's positive history, which is going to work it well into the negotiations. of course, Celestia is just going to be basically like, okay, guys, play nice. I've got a sun up there, and I'm not afraid to use it. And Kirk and Kang would basically be like, okay, we actually kind of like each other. We swear. There won't be any, like, bloodletting. There'll be some minor shenanigans. Because, you know, there has to be minor shenanigans. It's going to be more of an affectionate parody.
Okay.
Yeah, like, Kirk and Blue Blood will get into a bit of a spat. They'll have a bit of a duel. Kirk's shirt will be ripped, because, of course, it has to be ripped. That, apparently, back in the day, the clothing budget was pretty bare bones. So his shirt ripped most of the time in his fights.
Really?
Yep.
That's great.
Yeah. I'm not entirely. Okay. There's a. You know the bit of Fanon where Discord is Q?
Yes.
I'm not doing that. I don't like that Fanon at all. But I'm probably gonna have Fluttershy like finding Discord as a statue and going, Mr. Discord, what's going on? Oh, Fluttershy, he's coming, Kirk. Because
like he's already had previous encounters.
Well, Kirk's met a lot of semi-omnipotent godlings, and he's actually stopped or even killed a few of them. So Discord is kind of a little wary.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I even planned on having Q show up himself.
Ooh, fun.
Yes. Just to mock his cousin.
Double Delancey, huh?
Yes. Oh, he's just one human. Aren't you a century early there, Q? Aren't you supposed to be having tea Earl Grey hot with Mon Capitan? And there would be a bit of a crisis. I'm not entirely sure what it would be, but it would be engineered by one of Kang's crew. And Kang would basically be like, I gave my word to Celestia and Kirk that there would be none of this. You've had me break my word. And he would point to Kirk and go, this man is more Klingon than you are.
Ooh, that's evil.
Yes. And he would go to, like, do a ritual killing of the guy, but Celestia would be like, okay, listen, he screwed up. You want to punish him, fine. But don't kill him here. Like let him learn from this. And basically, it would end with the ecosystem being declared like an open system where both the Klingon and Federation ships can go. And it would end, like, you know, with basically the affirmation that, you know, they are stronger together, that friendship is magic.
How else would a My Little Pony story end?
Yeah.
Gotta have the magic.
Oh, and Scotty would get into a bar fight.
Yeah.
Of course.
Appropriate.
It wouldn't be a bad bar fight, but it would just be, you know, a bit of fisticuffs. At the end, him and the Klingon engineer would just be like, raise a pint of cider, knock it together, and that would be about it. So, good idea, bad idea?
Yeah, I think it's got
Sounds
promise. If there's anybody who could write good MLPX or crossed with Star Trek, I think it'd be you, because you have you've got pretty good knowledge of both fandoms.
Thanks. It would be affectionate. It would be a parody, but it would be an affectionate parody. Like, Kirk would talk like this all the time.
Yeah.
He has to negotiate with Princess Celestia and Princess Luna. Damn it, Jim. I'm a doctor. I don't do choreographed dances. That would be quite illogical to see, Doctor. Oh, shut up, you green-blooded son of a gun! And yes, Princess Twilight, who would be a princess, because I never hated. I always liked Princess Twilight. Just didn't like how she became princess. But yeah, Princess Twilight would basically see Kirk would basically see Bones and Spock sniping at each other and think, "Ooh, I've got a friendship problem to solve."
Oh my, yes.
Are you out of your pony picking mind? No, totally. We'll have a sleepover.
I want to see a Twilight Kirk sleepover immediately.
I would have other stuff for all the other characters planned. Like I would have Sulu take Rainbow Dash for a trip around the solar system in a shuttlecraft. Or okay, you probably don't know this, but back in the original series, Ensign Chekhov would basically say that everything on Earth was invented by Russians. So Pinkie Pie would basically be taking him on a tour of the castle. And here we have the castle. It was grown from the Tree of Harmony. Ah, yes, Tree of Harmony. I think we had a grove of those in Leningrad.
Discovered by an old lady in Leningrad many years ago.
And for once, Pinkie would be flummoxed because, like, wait, what? How do you have the Tree of Harmony? A grove? What? Twilight?
Yeah, just kind
Yes,
of
I
panic
could-
ensuing.
I
Yes.
could easily see that. That'd be funny.
Uhura, who was a bit of a songstress, she would probably have a duet with Fluttershy. Or heck, she would just be singing in Ponyville and choreographed dance number. I mean, hell, Spock had a Vulcan lute that he would play on occasion. A little bit of a jam session with Octavia.
I like it. I definitely think it has promise.
Yeah.
And the thing of it is, at the end of the Blue Blood Kirk fight, Kirk would be like, "No, I won't kill him. I will not kill. I am human. We will not kill today. We may kill tomorrow, but we will not kill today." And then all of a sudden, Princess Celestia shows up because she went to the concession stand to get some popcorn, and she shows up like, "Wasn't this a pie throwing contest?" And Blue Blood's just lying there, "Auntie."
Well.
And wow, I think I gotta write this stuff down actually.
Yeah, definitely.
You probably should.
It has promise. That's for sure.
Thanks. All right. I have to head to bed in about an hour.
I should
Yeah,
probably
we
do
should
the same.
probably
Yeah.
probably cut about right now, I think.
Thank you for listening.
All right, good stream, guys.
Awesome stream.
All right,
Until next week.
Yep. Bye.
until next week.
Bye.
Bye.